Tell me what a smoke test is.
Basically, at this level, it's just looking for particulates, looking for dirty wagons so that we can identify them, VOSA fail them if need be. It's just to try and improve the environment which everybody wants.
You knew the figures before the fuel was introduced.
Yeah.
What did the vehicles do when you put the fuel in?
Two identical wagons, two sisters. So we smoke tested both and only put the additive into one vehicle and run them side by side as a comparison because they were only 12 months old with the wagons. The older wagons is where we saw the better improvements, to be fair, which were quite significant as far as I understand it. I'm more of an old mechanical man where if you see the improvement, it's improved if they're not smoking. So we saw that better on the older vehicles. So.
And do you feel that it did make those machines cleaner?
Definitely, you can't argue with that tester. You can't. I don't think anything else were done with them. I know our vehicles definitely had no outside interference because they went down the road and they came back in a fortnight. We gave the drivers different. We said every time you fill up, put one in. So some of them were away 2 weeks. So there were no outside influence from these guys. And they were clean when they came back, they were cleaner. So that's proof in the pudding.
Did you notice any smoke?
No, nothing at all. Same as this morning. Started her up this morning. Normally you'll get a little puff coming out of there. I didn't see much this morning at all, even though it was just done 400 mile in less than 24 hours. And on this it's got a 400 litre tank, which means it should have used just under 3/4 of a tank, sorry, but it's actually used just under half a tank.
That's quite a lot different.
Yeah, for a 400 mile journey up and down hills, round bends, country lanes, especially out towards Kendal, changing gears, yourselves use your own car, changing gears, you use more fuel. It doesn't seem to use as much as it would have done.
Just go through.
On the first reading on December the 22nd 2017, the average reading was 0.491. On January the 12th of 2018, after we started using diesel, that reading came to 0.28, and on the final reading on January the 26th of 2018, that was reduced to 0.11.
So the fuel reduced that emission by more than 75%?
Yes.
Were you expecting that?
No, not at all. We were interested to see what the outcome would be, but we certainly did not expect that at all.
So this is a 19-year-old bus which has become 75% plus cleaner because of fuel?
Yes, that's correct. It's also improved. This vehicle was chosen because it has its regular driver on the regular run every day, and he commented on it felt smoother, it felt more efficient, as well as the readings there.
Is it your impression that the fuel consumption has improved as well?
Yes. The 8.9 at the final reading, and it was 7.5 prior to using the fuel.
And you're pretty sure it's fuel that made the difference?
Yes.
What's your conclusion about fuel?
I think it's one of the ways forward. We talk about cities with clean air zones. Cost to companies is a lot of money to invest because these vehicles would have to go, then we'd have to replace them, which is not in our replacement programme that we have.
What's your message to local authorities thinking about introducing clean air zones instead of fuel?
There are alternatives, and this is one of them. And this, I believe strongly, is that this is something the government should be looking at, alternative to replacing existing vehicles. If they actually tested the vehicles themselves, they would realise that this is an alternative to very costly, to companies, very costly replacement programme.
If you are forced to replace buses, will you do it?
It's a deep question at the moment, because the cost would have to be passed on. That would have to be passed on through the education authorities to the local councils again. So they're imposing this, but somebody has got to pay for it.
So what was the smoke like before you...
It was bellowing out with smoke. It was really dirty, black smoke when you started it every morning, and a lot of it. You know, I'm really impressed how it's cleaned it up, really. It's, you know.
So you put the fuel in.
Yeah.
We saw it starting now. Very little smoke, just at the beginning, and then it's clear. Is it always like that now?
Yeah, it's totally, you know, more or less clean now. Compared with, you know, the first... Before I put the diesel in, it was black smoke for a good couple of seconds, and now, like you say, a tiny bit of smoke, and then it's clean. Yeah, I'm very surprised. Yeah. I was very sceptical actually, you know, and I thought, let's give it a go. You know, you've got to do your bit, and you know, I'm thrilled with the results.
And when you put this in now, do you have any concerns about it? Has it changed the engine performance?
Not that I notice. I mean, personally, I drive a lot of JCBs, so they're pretty good anyway. But again, no black smoke with those.
Okay, you're going to stick with it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's you know, I'm doing my bit for the environment, and that's what's important.
On what we do, we put it through what's the emissions test on the MOT. So we check the engine temperature, which has got to be up to a specified temperature, so the vehicles are all at the same temperature, and then we do the smoke analysis using a gas analyzer. Yeah, we had a set of readings from when he first brought it in for an MOT, and he realised that the readings were quite high, and then he's done what he's had to do, brought it back, we've retested it, and he said it showed a significant reduction in the output on smoke.
So did you use the fuel product to achieve that?
Yes.
When we initially tested the vehicle in 2016, it was 0.9.
And what do we get today in terms of the result?
A much lower decline from the last one. We're down to 0.23.
What do you think of that decline?
Amazing.
Why are you so impressed with it?
Because it's reduced it by, what, 3/4 in real terms.
Do you think that fuel could actually make it possible for old vehicles to continue in business and also in operation rather than having to be replaced?
Yeah, I think they could, yeah.
Would that have benefits?
Definitely. Environmentally.
In what way?
Less dirty emissions.
Would you recommend fuel to other customers?
I certainly would, yeah.
Wanted to trial a fuel catalyst to see what effect it had on our fleet. I think it was outstanding, the results that we had almost immediately. What we did, as to way of working, if you like, is to communicate, engage with the drivers. So we gave all the drivers a questionnaire, and we told them exactly what we were doing, what we're aiming to achieve. We didn't ask them specific questions. We asked them to tell us what they thought they could get from it, and the most surprising thing was more power, not speed, but more power to the vehicle, certainly a fuel saving, and less smoke, and that was immediately apparent from the drivers. We went on to trial it and had some really outstanding results, saving a circa 6 to 8% on MPG. Certainly saw a reduction on the emissions and stuff like that, but certainly felt from the offset, from the get-go, that this was a winner.
What would companies get? What would be the benefit of it?
Oh wow, first of all, cost saving, fuel, much better MPG. You've got to look at the life of the vehicle. I'm convinced that fuel will reduce the friction and the wear on the vehicle itself, but give you more of a life on the vehicle, and obviously the environment, that's the big one.
What would the government get from choosing something like fuel instead of toxic charges?
Wow. how are we going to put this? What they'll get is a decent policy, something that will make a difference, will save lives, will save emissions, it will save fuel usage. I think it'll tick all of the boxes that they're looking to do that we're not doing currently.
It's obvious to me now that when you put a product like fuel into your tank, you're creating free money. You're using less fuel to create lower emissions. This is just common sense for your pocket and for the environment. What could be simpler?